That we're SheSays, a global network for women in business and creative to support and uplift each other and grow together. It was founded in 2007 and it spread very fast, and now it's in more 55 cities and we are over 70,000 members around the globe. Here in Munich, we're a small chapter that started in 2018. This is us, by the way. Here are some good memories from good old times where we could all get together in physical spaces. But thanks to Zoom, we can also do it now online. And we have a lot of friends joining us from all over the world, which is also a very beautiful opportunity. How can you support us? You can follow us on our social media or become a speaker or join our events. And if you would like to become a speaker, just send us an email. So we relaunched our initiative here in Munich called She Creates. And if you're a creative and you have a beautiful portfolio that you would like to share with Munich and the world, feel free to send us an email with your works, and we're very happy to share it on our social media. And now let's talk about our event, how to make a profitable side hustle from our hobby. And I would like to introduce our lovely speakers of tonight. It's Tiffany, Hart, and Tanya, Garma. Wait, I didn't skip the R. I'm sorry.
It's all good, no problem.
I don't have the lovely Australian accent as she does, but they're the founders of the platform called GrowGetters, and they will tell more about it during the event. And I would like to give them the stage. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. So our session today is called From Hobby to Hustle. And we really want to get you started today. That's what it's all about. It's getting you started with helping you turn your passion project or your hobby or just an activity that you absolutely love doing into a profitable business and an additional income stream. So it's a real win-win. That's what we're here today to get you started with. And I think that we can all agree that 2020 and now into 2021 has literally turned our lives upside down. As you all know, there were some industries that completely crumbled. The travel industry has taken a massive hit, for example. So many millions of your jobs were furloughed, so many of us on Kurzarbeit, for example, and a lot of people have lost their jobs all around the world. And I think what it's done is just left us all wondering, where do I go from here? I think it's really been a time of self-reflection. So I guess with all the bad things that have happened in the past year, plus, you know, all of the personal tragedies, everything has come together. And I think amongst the inconveniences, the lockdowns, the risks to our health, and that lack of physical community, like Xenia was just talking about, I think we're all just desperate just to get together at some point. I think what the last year has revealed is a lot about ourselves personally and the world we live in, because we've had so much time on our hands to really re-examine and re-evaluate what we love to do and really take stock of our lives and how we want to spend time. And I think what we've learned is we've learned a whole bunch of things. Firstly, we've learned that there was no such thing anymore as stability and normality. I think, as we know, our day-to-day situations could literally change overnight from one day to the next. One day we're in a partial lockdown, the next day we're in a harder lockdown, and then the next day we're eased. So we've gotten very used to that. And I think we also realize that job security is no longer a given anymore. You know, so many people, like I mentioned before, have lost their jobs or they've been on Kurzarbeit for a really long time. But we've also had that thinking time, that time to reflect and get a bit of perspective on the things we really like doing. And I speak for us personally at GrowGetters with Tiffany and I, we really took this opportunity to start something big, you know, something for ourselves. And we started our own side project because during this time, we really realized, okay, what really matters to us? What value do we want to put into the things in our lives? And we wanted to do something that was truly in line with our core values and our sense of purpose. And that's something that you can definitely channel into a side hustle. And I think today, what we're really here to tell you is that the cool thing is that you can turn that passion project into an additional source of income. So I guess we'll find out a bit more about you when we talk about through your mentee answers at the end of the session. But you could be one of those people who have determined your passions. Maybe you even took this opportunity to reestablish your old hobbies, the things that you used to do 5, 10 years ago, and that you've now refound a joy and a love in doing. Or maybe you found a completely new activity that really lights your fire and brings you into that state of flow that we all, really look for in our lives. So what we're here today is to talk about how can we actually turn this love of what we're doing into additional income. And it's also a way to actually diversify your career. And that's the whole beauty of a side hustle. It's not that you're giving up your career to do something completely different. It's about complementing the life that you already have. So guys, we are here today to welcome you to the Power Hour. Well, it's actually a Power Hour and a half, and it's dedicated to taking you from hobby to hustle. And we want to help you get started on a path towards more creativity, more stimulation, because I think we all want to be stimulated in our lives, more passion and more income. And Tiffany, if you could flick those slides forward to number 8, I'll take you through what you'll learn today. So firstly, we are going to teach you some ways to ascertain if your hobby can be monetized. And we're going to help you build a clear picture of your dream customer and who they might be. We want to help you to craft your customer value proposition. Plus, we're going to take you through some productivity tips to balance your business with your day job, as well as everything in between. I know we've all got a whole bunch of commitments in our lives and we're in the constant struggle to juggle. So we've got a few tips to help you get there, as well as some thought starters to maybe get you thinking about how to create additional passive income and additional revenue, either through your side hustle or through something else. So that's what we're going to take you here today. And you take it away, Tiffany.
Okay, cool. So my name is Tiffany Hart, and this is my co-founder and co-host and podwife, Tanya Garma. And we started GrowGetters as a project in 2019, actually early 2019, but we started working on our podcast through this time, as it was a bit of a brainchild from both of us. We both worked together in the same agency here in Munich. And my background is I've been a tech startup founder that has raised money and built a company and sold a company, and now I'm working as a digital transformation specialist and also running GrowGetters. And Tanya here, who you've been hearing from, she works as a brand and digital strategist and a content director and writer. And so the two of us bringing our passions together have created GrowGetters. And so GrowGetters is the Future Skills podcast, which has been running and successfully launched on January 2020 at the start of the pandemic. We weren't aware. And we grew it over the last year and a bit now, and we have 64 episodes, and it's just been growing all over. It's been a top 20 podcast in lots of different places, top 3 in New Zealand, top 5 in Singapore, and different parts of the world. So it's been a really exciting endeavor for us, just so you know who we are. So we are building a holistic platform that exists to future-proof the careers of women in business, because we believe, and I hopefully you also believe the same, that the more women in leadership and business there are, the better the world will be. Hopefully we all feel the same way today here. It's SheSays. So let's get on with making your hobby a hustle. We believe the only way to get started is to cultivate a growth mindset, because when we are here and we are learning something new, the only way is to really start with opening up our minds and coming from a fresh place, because sometimes we carry the baggage from previous experiences or imposter syndrome. We want to throw that away and start fresh with you today. So the first thing is to be curious. And this curiosity makes everything new, and it invites exploration. So it makes everything a play. So this is a really important word for us. The next word is just give it a go. Very often we stop ourselves from doing something because we are too nervous to bring our stuff out into the world for fear of what people are going to say or think about you, your boss, parents, partner, kids, whatever, whoever's in your sphere of influence. So it's just giving it a go, trying something new, getting it out the door. And this is the aim of the game with side hustling. The next one is to reframe problems. So to unstuck yourself by reframing the problem. Reframing also makes sure that you are working on the right problem. So, life design involves key reframes. You need to really reframe a problem that you're experiencing. The fourth one is awareness, so developing awareness. And what's really important is for every step forward, it sometimes can be moving 2 steps back, but it's just kind of keeping aware that you're working on a project or you're working on an idea, a passion, and just to kind of be aware that this is something you're bringing into your awareness. And then the last one is what we really believe at GrowGetters is collaboration over competition. Our latest episode actually we launched this week was called it's around this topic, but I won't go into that. But most importantly is actually to really radically collaborate, find partners, find people, find who you can actually work with to create this or even support you on your journey is really important. You can go it alone, which is, of course, is the nature of a side hustler. But if you can find partners or people to collaborate with, even better. So what I'd like to say here is not all side hustles are created equal, though. As you can see, as from these examples, a casual job may be good seasonally, and I'm sure we've all had casual jobs before, but in the slower months, limited hours can mean limited funds. So if you've ever had an Airbnb property or you've been a driver, you've done some extra stuff on the side, this is one category of side hustling, and it can be very kind of touch and go. It's a great starting point, but it can be touch and go. So what we'd like you to think about is, if you want to make a good side hustle, it's really important to look past that casual work and the side hustle apps, and there's a plethora of them online. And then today, start instead looking at your side hustle as a path to entrepreneurship and really a space for professional growth, that we grow in this space. But sometimes in your job, you don't have the ability to grow professionally in the ways that you wish to, or in the topics or the areas that you wish to. Sometimes you're doing one thing, but a side hustle can actually help you grow yourself in a new area. That's for sure in my case and Tanya's case, that we wanted to be podcasters. We're both writers, but we wished to venture out into podcasting world. It was a passion project. It was a creative project. And that was our way into a side hustle. It was never our intention to create a business, but through the time it has become a business. So it was really a way for us to grow professionally, and then a way to earn income in your spare time. It's a cool thing to do if you have the ability and the capacity to do so. And we've got some tips for you today on how to do so. Because the beauty of side hustling is that you have nothing to lose. And I'm going to hand it over to Tanya.
Exactly right. I think the coolest thing about starting a side hustle is that it does allow you to take some risks, some calculated risks without the big financial or career stakes holding you back. It's a total win-win because you're willing to risk, but not risk everything. So it means you can really play with your idea. You can explore, you can experiment, you can test things, and it's all at a relatively low risk because you're not giving up absolutely everything and diving straight in. It's a complement to the work that you're already doing. So guys, I think as I said before, we'll find out a bit more about where you are at on your side hustle journey. But perhaps you might already have a brilliant idea for your side hustle. And maybe you've thought about a niche idea within the industry that you're already working in, or maybe it's just something you're really, really passionate about. It's a personal thing. So first up, I just want to give you some questions to help you stress test this idea to decide whether it actually has potential to be a business, or is it best to keep just as your hobby or as your passion. So these questions are: is your idea authentic to you as a person or what you do professionally? And, it should feel really authentic to you and your values and what you believe in. And I know it's a no-brainer, but is it something that you would buy yourself? Like, would you buy from your business or from your side hustle? And I think time as well is a very valuable resource, and it's a very precious resource that people have. So is your idea worthy enough, not only of someone's money, but of their time? Another thing to ask yourself is it a blatant ripoff of an existing idea, or is it something fairly original? There could be an existing idea out there that's super similar or even the same, but perhaps you can give it an edge with how you deliver it, how you package it, adding your own uniqueness to it. You just have to ask yourself that, is it me too, or is it something a little different? And maybe the industry that you want to play with, or the genre or the category, is it a hot growth trend right now? You know, does it fit into the zeitgeist? Is this something that people are really into right now? For example, the wellness industry is an industry that continues to keep booming. The beauty industry continues to keep booming. So perhaps, you know, playing in a category that's in a very, very high growth phase, or even in the maturity phase, is a good idea. And is there currently demand for this idea? Do you have a feeling, or do you know for sure whether people are likely to buy it? Do you think there's a real need for what you're offering? So I think another key piece of advice is really don't be afraid to sound out your idea with the people or the types of people who you think who would listen or buy it, just to really start to just, you know, add a few breadcrumbs and just gauge initial responses. Once you have a bit more of an idea and you think, okay, cool, I think this really has legs, then we urge you to test, baby. On the next slide, test it, baby. We would highly recommend not investing a whole bunch of your time and money into getting your side hustle absolutely 100% right and perfect. Please don't do this. Instead, we would recommend creating like a prototype of your idea and testing it out with not your friends and family, but real people who you think would be likely to be your customers, because we want to start gauging whether there truly is a demand for what you're offering and if it actually resonates with people. So ways that you can test, and guys, this is a whole topic in itself, testing. Maybe we need to do another session for you guys. But once you do come up with an idea that you think is going to resonate with your target audience or your target market, you want to get it out of the building ASAP. So forget perfection here. This is about putting together a super easy prototype of an idea. You know, this could be as simple as a written description, or as complex as a clickable wireframe, you know, especially if this is a digital product you're talking about. It could even be as creative as a mood board poster. You know, there are a plethora of ways that you can create a prototype or an MVP and do it really easily, on the cheap, fast and quickly, so you can learn from the initial feedback you get, and then you can integrate it back into your idea and refine it further. So we really strongly recommend creating a pilot or a minimal viable product, an MVP, in a super simple, super low cost way to get feedback from those people who you think would be likely your desired customers. And the final point there is, what is your elevator pitch? I think in this case, you really need to nail down in like 60 seconds, in a very, very short, quick, super sharp paragraph, what is your side hustle all about? You should be able to describe it in 1 minute flat. So work on your elevator pitch, because that's another way that you can actually test out your idea. An elevator pitch in itself is a form of prototype. And guys, just on the point of who you see buying from you, I want to start thinking about your dream customer. This is our very, very first port of call in this session. So who do you actually see buying from you? Who will buy your product or service offering? You know, maybe you're in the stage of your side hustle where you've already got a steady fan base, a strong online community, maybe a pretty big following on social media, and maybe even a pretty decent email list too. Or perhaps you're starting completely fresh from zero. But the question here is, how can you convert those fans and followers into paying customers? You know, Tiffany and I with GrowGetters, we've had tens of thousands of downloads of our podcast. We've got a pretty decent email list now. We've got a solid following on social media. And it's about how to actually convert those fans. And it doesn't matter how little or how many you have, there really is an opportunity to convert them if they love your stuff. So let's get into it. We're going to define your dream customer today. And we want to know, or you have to ask yourself, can you describe your dream customer in a really detailed way? And the reason this isn't a bit of fluff, it is actually a really, really important exercise, because for any side hustle, without having a clear picture of who your dream customer is, how can you actually communicate your idea? How can you actually resonate and connect with her? And how can you explain to her how your idea is actually going to help her in her life? You've got to get to know who she is, and you've got to get to know her life. So, for example, at GrowGetters with Tiffany and I, we've even created posters. We've got detailed descriptions of who our 3 dream customers are. We have 3 customer personas. And whenever we're writing a social media post, whenever we're drafting an email that we send to our email list, or even when we're recording our podcast episodes, we always imagine in our minds, who is listening? Who is she? Will she like our tone of voice? Will she like what we're saying? Will it connect with her? So it's a really nice way to think about speaking directly to them. And then you end up actually communicating your side hustle like a human, from human to human, rather than like a business to a human. So this is going to be our first exercise tonight, ladies. So I hope you've all got a vino in hand, but also maybe with your other hand, grab a pen and a paper, or your mobile, your handy, whatever you've got handy. And we're going to take a couple of minutes to go through these 3 foundational questions to help you start to define who your dream customer is, because this is a really great launching place. And it's also another way to stress test your idea as well. So it's a really, really important thing. So I'll let you guys grab your pens and paper, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes per question. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can certainly revisit these questions at a later time and in more detail, but I just want you to jot down the first things that come into your head, even if it's just 2 or 3 points per question. Are we all set? Let's go. So these are our first questions. What is she like? Does she work full-time, part-time? How flexible is her lifestyle? What are the things she enjoys doing in her spare time? And does she consume media? What media does she consume? What is she reading? What is she watching? Where does she spend most of her free time? And what is her day-to-day lifestyle like? You know, these are just some very initial questions to start putting yourself into her shoes and starting to paint this picture of your dream customer. So please, guys, I'll give you 2 minutes to jot down some points off the top of your head. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a starting point, and you can revisit again. So I'll give you 2 minutes. Think about it as describing a friend of yours. Like, this is really about creating a persona. So really describing her personality, getting a real feel of what her day-to-day life looks like. Cool. Let's go on to the next question or set of questions. So, ladies, thinking of your dream customer, what is she motivated by? You know, what drives her in life? What does she get up every day? What gives her that drive in, you know, getting up and taking on the world each and every day? You know, were there any activities that she loved or loves currently doing that has this positive impact on her life? Perhaps there are certain milestones and moments that are important to her in her life. Maybe you can think about her life stage. You know, does she have children? Does she have pets? Does she travel the world? Does she own her own home? You know, these are just some questions to start getting you to think about who she is. You know, who inspires her? You know, does she get inspiration from the books she reads or from the people she meets around her? Does she find inspiration in everyday things, or does she have a love of learning? What is she passionate about? You know, what really lights her fire? These are just some thought starters. So again, please take 2 minutes to jot down a few points. I'll give you a couple of minutes from now. And ladies, you can also picture a real person if you want to. If there's someone you know who would be your dream customer and it's a real person, then by all means, you can use their personal attributes and characteristics. That's completely fine. And we'll go on to our last question. What could help her have a smoother day to day? You know, does she have any pain points in her life and things that need to be alleviated? Is there anything that causes her any, you know, inconvenience, any stress, any pain, anything that she would love to fix? And can you solve them? Is there any opportunities for your side hustle to add any real and genuine value to her? So is there any way that you can help kind of ease her day, make her life that little bit better, add to her life? These are the things that I'd love for you to jot down. So again, just another couple of minutes to write down a few points. Just whatever comes to mind. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a start. You might be lucky enough to have already done this exercise, or you've already got something down in your mind. So that's a good thing. This is a start. This is just a starting point. And I must stress that, ladies, you can definitely revisit these questions again and again in your own time. And like humans do, humans can also change and evolve. So a really good tip from us is to also revisit who your dream customer is every few months or so, perhaps like at least 2 times a year, because her needs and her life stages will also evolve, and you'll have to evolve with her as well. You can take this even a step further and give her a name. You know, really give this person an identity. Either you can base it on a real person, like I said, or you can just give her a name. Like, I think our ladies, we have 3 dream customers, and their names are Lisa, Mel, and who was the last one, Tiffany?
I was actually wondering if you're going to remember.
It's Lisa, Mel, oh gosh, I forget the other one, damn. But we really have these women in our minds, and we've also given them, breathed life into them. And that's the whole point of it. And it's not only is it a fun creative exercise for you, but it just helps to keep your side hustle on track. And it's really, really helpful when you want to market it, when you want to communicate it. You know, you want to sound like a human. So why not picture a real person that you've made up to communicate to? It just is really helpful. So if anyone else would like to share. I will then keep rolling then.
Oh, there is.
Oh, here we go. We have someone.
Alexa said, I have one ideal customer thus far, and her name is Yana.
Well, Yana, I hope that she's got a fabulous personality, and your next step would be to identify her motivations, her pain points, what she loves, and how you can really connect with her, because that's the whole point of this. So thank you for sharing. Mm-hmm. So ladies, having a clear picture of your dream customer means that you, like I said, you always have her in mind. We have Lisa, Mel, and the other lady who we forget.
Let's call her Sophia.
Sophia. You know, when you're creating your content to promote your side hustle, when you're communicating your business, and even when you're actually shaping the literal offering, so shaping your product or shaping your service, you're doing it for her. So that's why it's such a nice thing to do, is to really picture that dream customer and really speak to her. And in an even more ideal situation, you would want to talk to a bunch of people who are in your ideal customer group, and also back this up with real insights from real people. So this is taking it even to the next step further. And that's a whole other presentation. So let's keep on rolling today. Let's go a level deeper. Tiffany.
Yes. Okay. So we've done this activity of understanding who our dream customer is. And the question you might be having yourself is, how do we create a side hustle that people actually want to buy? Because we can have a side hustle and it's great. And it's really fantastic for working on your professional career, your development, but also the topic of this is about profitability. And today we're going to talk about ways to look at how we can create a profitable side hustle. And one of my favorite authors, you might know him, Seth Godin. I've read most of his books. I love his work. And he said, if we can fall in love with serving people, creating value, solving problems, building valuable connections like we're doing here today, and doing work that matters, it makes it far more likely we're going to do important work. And I'm not sure about where you're at in your life, but it's very important for me to do important work and to work with people I really like working with, and trying to serve and help others. This is really important for me in my stage of my life. So, and I'm sure it also resonates with you. By creating value is the key thing we're going to focus on in this next 20 minutes. Have you ever been overwhelmed by the task of creating true value for your customer? You've been probably told multiple times, you need to create value. How the hell do I create value? It's so hard. Have you ever been involved in bold, shiny projects at work or your own side hustles and they just blew up or they fizzled away? And have you ever been disappointed by the failure of a good idea? It's a fantastic idea, but actually it didn't go well, or it didn't get out there, or you didn't get it out the door, or actually people didn't want it. So the first activity we're going to do, leading on from the dream customer, is one of the most critical and one of the most crucial when developing a side hustle. And it's really connected to value creation, which is the following activity. So this is a prep for our following activity. So ladies, again, we've got a bit of work to do here. And this is all about defining your purpose statement and where you sit right now. So this activity is broken down into 3 parts. So the thing is, you probably have an idea, but this is really great to just define it and to clarify it. And it helps to also build out your elevator pitch. So can you describe 3 or 4 activities you most enjoy focusing on? It can be connected to your side hustle. It can be connected to your job. Are there 3 or 4 things you really, really enjoy focusing on? The next part is people. Can you describe several people or groups of people with whom you'd like to spend your time with? Because it's often we get put into roles or into organizations that we just don't enjoy spending the time with these people. This is all about creating this possibility to spend the time with people that you really want to spend time with. So those people you're serving. Also, again, it can be for your side hustle that you have the idea for, or literally if you don't have that idea yet, this is also to help you define it. And then the last bucket is helping. How will you help other people? And you can use 3 or 4 words to describe this. And one thing I wanted to mention here, and I think it's nice that I read that there was this, we have basically 80,000 work hours. And I know I've spent quite a few of them already. And this purpose statement helps us to kind of align ourselves and how will we spend the rest of the time that we have in work on our side hustle. And moving on to how it builds together. The activity looks like this. I like to help these people doing this. Okay, so bringing it together, it's taking a piece of paper and breaking it into 3 columns here. I like to help people doing. And I'll show you what GrowGetters looks like, just to give you an example. So we like to empower women in business to future-proof their careers by educating them with the future skills and inspiring them to succeed. So we like to empower women. And what is this? To future-proof their careers by educating them with the future skills and inspiring them to succeed. So I'll take it back to this. We're going to spend a couple of minutes on this also. But what we want to do first is to brainstorm those 3 or 4 activities you really enjoy focusing on, the people you like to work with or who you want to work with, and then how will you help? So if you have any questions, guys, with this, if you get confused in any way, please put it in the chat or turn on your microphone and ask me or Tanya. We'll help you in this activity. We have now, let's say we have 4 minutes to do this. Okay.
Tiffany, just a question on people, the people section, is that people you want to serve, like your desired customers?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, cool. Your dream customer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, guys. How are we doing? Okay, so if you'd like, again, to share, it would be awesome. If not, we can also move on. It's no problem. No pressure. But this is really where you step forward. This is like a moment where you, if you haven't done this activity or exercise before, it's like really stepping forward into owning what you wish to do and who you want to do it with and how you want to help. So if you'd like to share it in the chat, or if you'd like to turn on your microphone, you're most welcome to do so. If you've been bubbling away, if this side hustle has been bubbling away in the back of your mind, this is a really cool way just to define that, define those activities, define those people, define how you help, because that's actually really challenging, because sometimes we can want to do it for everybody, but actually what really becomes successful and a really successful side hustle is when you become very clear on the specific person with the specific thing that you do with the specific way you help. Thank you guys for doing that activity with us, and it's really cool that you shared, Alexa, and hopefully you can keep refining and working on that activity, because this is something you need to keep refining and refining and refining. It's the start of your elevator pitch. It's the initial step of what you do and how you do it and how you put yourself out there in the world. So let's skip over. So here is one of our favorite tools that can really help you. And you might know it already. So please raise your hands if you do it already, if you know it already, but it helps you gain clarity, get you and your team aligned, and also helps you to minimize that risk of a flop, which very often can happen. So please raise your hand if you know this tool already, but it's called the Value Proposition Canvas. Anybody know this tool? I don't know if I can even see them. Maybe Tanya can help me see if people raise their hands, if that's a feature here or not. I don't know.
I'll just have a look.
Oh, there's a hand raised. Awesome. Anna raised her hand.
I can't see everyone's picture, unfortunately.
All good. So this value proposition canvas has two sides, and it was developed by a guy called Alex Ostenwalder. He was the guy that created the business model canvas. It's a really famous way of developing a business model. There's also a third model here, and a third model which we use very often in our trainings, which is called Business Model U, which is about defining a business model around you. But today we're going to focus on the value proposition canvas, and it's got two sides, as you can see here in this picture. One is with the customer profile, and this is here on the right-hand side here. It's you start on the right, and this helps you clarify your customer understanding. You get a deeper and a more understanding about the customer. So we've already gone into your dream customer. This makes you go even deeper into understanding who that customer is, because for any side hustle that's going to work, you need to really know that person and the jobs inside and out. You need to understand the pains and the gains of that customer. You discover what they're like. You get more clarity, so you can take what we've done in the dream customer segment and you can bring it into this canvas. And this is a fantastic tool. It's available online. So today, after this this workshop, you can actually go and download it for free from strategizer.com. It's just here on the bottom. You can get it as a big A1, or you can print it out as A4, however you wish. But using this canvas can really help you clarify. And it gives you a value proposition or a value map. That's what we're trying to aim for here. And it's all about getting this perfect fit. So once you have your customer profile here on the right, that fits perfectly with your value map here on the left. When those two things fit well, then, first of all, the step is, theoretically it works. And then it's about getting out the door and testing it with people and seeing if it actually works or not. So that's really what this map's about, getting the right-hand side, the customer profile, really clear, and getting the left-hand side, your actual product, very clear, and finding that fit theoretically to even go out there and test in the market. So let's start with the first part, and I'll run you through this, guys. If it becomes too much information, we will actually be making this into a podcast episode. So you'll be able to hear this again, this information, as a podcast episode via GrowGetters on all platforms in 2 weeks' time. So you can go through this information again. But the first part starts with the customer jobs. It's the furthest on the right here where the arrow is. And it goes through looking at what kind of jobs do you do for your customer? What kind of functional jobs do you do? What kind of social jobs do you do? Personal and emotional jobs and supporting jobs. So for example, what you want to try and do is start sketching out. So if you have a piece of paper in front of you, it's cool to start sketching if you have the time to do so right now. And it's really writing down, what are the major jobs you offer? Do you write reports? Do you write articles? Do you do design? Do you help someone with their pain? Are you helping them with an emotional issue, or with a place where they're stuck? For example, Alexa is working as a burnout coach. This is also, you have a function, but you also have an emotional job that you're also satisfying there. So writing down those jobs are really cool, and you can make a list of those jobs that you're doing for your client. Are you working as a professional? Are you working as a consultant? This is also working as a professional, as a consultant. It's really good to be specific here. And this is all about the job you do for your customer. I'll let that sink in for a second because it becomes more as we move around the circle. So then the next part is we go downwards into the pain. And we talked about this in the activity Tanya went through, what kind of pain do they experience? But this is really when we go even deeper into those pains. Are there undesired outcomes they're experiencing? Are there problems that they have? Are there obstacles or risks that they currently face? Describing anything that annoys your customer before, during, and after the job that you do. So it might be writing a report for somebody. Are you helping them as a professional, as a legal consultant, or as an accountant or a tax consultant? Those kind of, what pain are they experiencing? How do your customers define too expensive? Too much money, takes a lot of time, requires effort. What makes your customer feel bad? What are their frustrations or things that give them headaches? I'm sure that there will be a lot that Alexa can write down from what gives them a headache. What are the current value propositions that are underperforming? Are there already value propositions in the market that are underperforming? It's really good to know those, because that's when you can actually come in as a unique proposition. If you can answer these questions, you're so close to finding out how to solve this pain. Make sure you check the severity of the pain. So, is it a little bit of pain or is it really painful? So it's really important to know, how high is the severity or how low is that severity? If it's a little bit, then it might not be enough for them to want to pay you. But if it's really high, then you actually help alleviate that pain with your service or your solution. And then it's really important to look at, what are the risks? What are the fears your customer have? What's keeping them awake at night? And that could be your solution helping them solve that fear, or what's keeping them awake in the night. And last thing is, what are the barriers keeping them from adopting your value proposition? So if you have that clarity already, this is a great activity to go back to after today and really print out that canvas from online, or you can also do it online. There is a tool from Strategizer. You can do this online, or you can get a Miro board and you can create it yourself and really detail the pain. When you dial up that pain, you look at the severity of the pain. That is your key to finding out how to solve that pain or how to get that value proposition paid for. So we move around the circle in the customer profile into the gains. So there are several different types of gains that people can have. Required gains, so without the solution, the product wouldn't work. For example, I want to buy a smartphone, but that smartphone has to have a call function. There's no way I will never buy a smartphone without the calling facility, the calling feature. So that's your required. What are the absolute requirements of your service? What are your expected gains? What are the basic expectations? desired and unexpected. So this is basically explaining what your customer wants. So some gains that can be required are you need to make those gains concrete. So the better you describe them, the clearer your gains will become. For example, if your customer wants better performance, or a higher performance, you need to make it more concrete. So a better performance is one thing, but actually you need to put a number. Customer X, or Jana or Lisa, Mel in our case, would like to increase their performance by X times or X%. So really being very specific will really help you. And sometimes it can be a hard activity because you're like, how do I know? But it's really important to just put it out there. This is all brainstorming, and this is all hypotheses that needs to be tested. This is all theoretical. And then when you get it out there in front of those people that you think, then that you actually get the data to test if this is real or not. One thing is, which savings would make them happy, your customer? Is it time savings? Is it money savings? Is it saving time with their family? What kind of savings do you do? Does your customer want to save more effort? That's also one thing. Does it make it easier for them? You take the effort out of the work that they're going to do. Do your current gains delight your customer? Is it nice? Is it good for them? What are your customers looking for most in your service? Are they searching for something specific? What do your customers dream of? And what would increase your customers' likelihood of adopting your value proposition? That's where you put in the gain section. And it is going to take a bit of time because you're really segmenting the customer. Very often we bunch it together, but what you do is you're segmenting those sections, the jobs that you're doing for them, the pains that they have, and then the gains that they have. So what are those gains, the things that they in your service that they cannot live without? And what are the unexpected things? What would surprise them? What would make them happy? Okay, so that's the right-hand side. And then we move on to the left-hand side, which is all about value. So the products and services, it can be super simple. It can be also a list. And it can be, what kind of products or services do you offer? Is it physical, tangible? So is it something manufactured? Do you create something? Do you make something? Is it intangible? So are they products or services such as, after sales support, or intangible, something that they can't touch but they're paying for? It can also be consulting fees. Is it a digital product or service? So there are a plethora of different digital options, and we're going to show you those in a further slide. But are they online courses or memberships? Is it a podcast, which is a digital offering, also intangible, but also digital? Or is it a financial? Are you also in the financial space, which you offer investments or insurances or anything like this? This is important to look at. What are those bundles of products and services? Because sometimes it can just be one thing, but it also can be a product plus a service. It can be just a range of services, but making those crystal clear is really important to helping your customer buy that. We move further around the circle into your pain relievers. So you need to ask yourself, this is really about describing exactly how your product or service would alleviate your specific customer pain. They show you, you know what the pain is, then how do you alleviate it? From your product, what do you do to alleviate that pain on the other side from the customer profile? So by finding out those pains, you're moving in a direction that will get your customer to pay for your product or service. So remember those pain relievers, that there isn't a pain reliever for every single pain your customer has. You can't do everything for every pain that person has, but you might have one specific pain reliever that helps that customer, with their highest pain. So this is really looking at what magic tablet do you have for fixing that pain of your customer. So, words you can use here is you minimize this stress, you remove X, or you take away that. These are kind of words you could use for relieving that pain for your customer. And you can have a whole bunch there. So you can have a whole bunch of different pain relievers, or you could have one or two. There's no perfect here. It's really what fits for you and for your side hustle that you're creating. The last part to this is your gain creators. So this is the positive part. So we kind of go from the negative part, minimize, reduce, take away, and this is the positive wording. So asking yourself, gain creators are the gains your product or service gives your customer. This is the positive words. They really explicitly show the outcomes or the benefits your customer expects, desires, or would like from your product or service. So like pain relievers, gain creators don't need to address every single gain that the customer profile needs. So it's really important to kind of look at, do you create savings for your customer? What makes your customer's work or life easier? Does it do something specific? Do you help the adoption easier? Is it lower costs, lower risk, improved performance, etc., etc.? Look for positive words here, and those positive words and kind of negative words help you to frame how do you detail that product or service in the future. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. It's a lot of information. It's a very theoretical thing I'm explaining here, but it's just showing you how you can break down your customer profile and the actual, you could say value map could just be product or service, but what you're saying here is that there is a very detailed list of products and services here on the right, and here are the pains, or here's how we relieve it, and here's how we relieve it in two different ways. Yeah, so the ways that you minimize and you take away, and the things that you increase and you give. So using those different types of words, and that helps you to really refine the wording you're using for your service. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's a great model. There's a lot of information about that. It's one of our favorite things that we do, and we do it often professionally, but also we've done it for GrowGetters. You can get that on strategizer.com. Just type in value proposition canvas into Google, get it for free, download it, use it, and hopefully it helps you to really structure and segment, break it apart, because the more that you can step away from your actual product and service and just separate your emotion, because sometimes we can mix everything up, but when you actually separate it out and you can look at it, strategically in those sections, it helps you to go, okay, this is my business and I'm going to break it down into sections so I can understand it further. I can understand it better. So this is, I'm going to hand it over to Tanya.
Thanks, Tiff. That was really awesome. So we've got through a lot of theory, and now I would like to just very, very quickly, let's get into some practice, because by God, you might have nailed your idea. You know who your dream customer is, but how are you going to do all of this? Because balancing a side hustle with your day job, with life, with house chores, home admin, perhaps you have a caring role, you've got yourself a very full plate. And then you throw in a pandemic and some lockdowns, and it's super hard to get shit done, pardon my swearing, to get stuff done. So we're just going to take you through really, really two simple productivity hacks that Tiff and I swear by. I won't take long, but I'm telling you, these things work, and you might have heard of them. If you haven't, they really work and they are awesome. So number one is called Laborits Law or Laborits Law. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's awesome. So I know, and I guarantee that you are all, maybe you're not, maybe you're awesome, but I think we are all guilty of tending to get all the small stuff out of the way. So when we sit at our desk, we start our day, let's just quickly clear the emails. Let's answer some DMs on social media. Let's unload the dishwasher if we're working from home. We just want to do the little stuff. It's a little bit like procrastinating, but you still feel like you're ticking stuff off. But according to Laborits Law, it's so much more productive if you tackle the most difficult tasks first in your day. So take a pause on answering all those emails and DMs and all those little nitty gritty things, and start your day with the most important task first. What is the task that is going to reap the most benefits for you? What is the task that is going to bring the most reward? And what is the task that is actually the most difficult to undertake? Because science has proven that our ability to make sound decisions diminishes over the course of the day. So you've got to use that brain power that you have at the beginning of the day and deal with the most difficult and challenging tasks first. So that's hack number one. Hack number two is the Pomodoro method, which maybe many of you have heard of. And this is a really cool method. It just keeps you super focused. It keeps you in check with your tasks and to-dos, and you're like literally bang, 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 you're going to get stuff done. So the way it works is you select a certain task, you set a 25-minute timer, and you work on that task until the time is up. Then you take a teeny weeny break, 5 minutes, and then you keep going and going. I've got no idea why they call it Pomodoros. Maybe Tiffany knows. But for every 4 of these Pomodoros, these 25-minute tasks, you then take a longer 15 to 30-minute break. But it just time boxes your tasks so you just get the stuff done. So the 2 hacks, Laborits Law and the Pomodoro method, I guarantee they will be lifesavers, because balancing a side hustle with your day job and with life itself is no easy feat. But we've done it. We've done it through lockdown. We've done it with kids through lockdown, which has been very challenging, and you can do it too, we promise. Then Tiffany, money, money, money.
Money, money, money. So here are some really fun thought starters on how to monetize your side hustle. So if you already have clarity on what is that side hustle, then these ones will help. And we have some more following. But did you know that you're 4 times more likely so once you have sorry, let me start again. You're four times more likely to identify a passion whilst you're, what am I saying here? So what am I saying here is that you're 4 times more likely to be dedicated in your work if you actually have something you're working on the side. So this is actually an article that I found, or a report that I found that's quite interesting. So let's explore these profitable things, or these money spinners. So where's my clicker? Here we are. So our top 5 money makers. The first one is, and I'm not sure if you know it already, but if you have a side hustle, you'd like to start a side hustle, the first one is called a drop shipping business. And a drop shipping business is really about creating an online business model where a third party manufactures products or services, or a product basically. And what you're doing is you're basically connecting to that third party and you're selling it yourself. So you can sell these products via Amazon, via eBay, via Etsy. And this is kind of a low risk because you don't actually have to produce it yourself and have the stock yourself. And it actually helps you to have someone else producing it. And once you have an order, so really you become really just a great marketer here. So, these kind of drop shipping businesses, they're really run by really cool marketers that know their specific dream customer. They know what value they're offering. Maybe they've done it in a very specific way, or they're marketing it in a specific way. And you basically connecting to that third party. For example, you might be you might sell Nepalese meditation cushions, for example, is one idea. And you don't want to produce all those, but you have someone that can produce those, but you create a really nice one-page or a simple Shopify website, or you can actually sell them through Amazon or through eBay or through Etsy or the other different stores. You are just becoming the kind of connecting point. And that's a really fun business to start. And it's also a fun thing to add additionally to if you have another side hustle or side business. The next one is about joining the gig economy. And you might be wondering what I'm talking about, the gig economy. And it was those Airbnb, TaskRabbit, Uber, those are the kind of gig economy apps that I mentioned. But also, if you would like to be a freelancer or a consultant, you can offer your services via Upwork, Dribbble, Fiverr, freelancer.com, peopleperhour.com, outsourcely.com. There are so many different sources. I would recommend, if you want to go for the top ones, probably Upwork over other ones. But this is really a fun way to freelance, to start freelancing if you don't have an existing network, or if you want to do it on the side to earn some extra bucks. You don't want, for example, your employers to know that you're doing this already and exposing yourself on your social networks. You can do this through sites like this. So it's fun. I know a lot of people in the gig economy and who are doing this, and it's just a stepping stone. It's a kind of a starting point if you don't already have a network of people that would like to have your services if you're a service provider. So the next one is teaching an online course. So it might be a bit scary, but learning a trade, skill, or subject can be challenging. And we've all had the experience in some time of our life. Some of us have done university degrees or trades or done courses, maybe via EduX or Coursera or Udemy. But you know what? Believe it or not, you could also do it yourself too. And I'm sure that you have what it takes to teach a course or a micro course. It's just about finding that niche. And so platforms like Udemy, Skillshare is pretty cool. And Tanya and I are creating a Skillshare course at the moment because we're taking our own advice. And there's also LinkedIn Learning or Code Academy, Khan Academy. There are so many different academies that you can actually offer your own course if you package it and you find that right niche. It's absolutely possible. There are so many different ways to do so. So teaching an online course as an additional stream of income to your job, to your side hustle, is a great money maker. Then the fourth one is to start a podcast, a blog, or a YouTube channel. We've done it. You can definitely do it too. This is also a fun way to explore yourself creatively and also find ways to earn extra cash. I tell you what, it has been a big process. We started this podcast not as a business, but as really a passion creative project. And it has turned into a business for us. And we have explored ways to make money from our podcast. And it's the first question I get every time I say, hey, we've got a podcast. Do you make money? So it's really the question we get very often, especially from our partners and from our family. But there are ways you can make money. Tanya's cracking up. There are ways you can make money from doing these things. And one way is to create affiliate links. And once you have a site, you can actually have, for example, you create a podcast episode. You put it on your website at the end of the article. So you've got the podcast, you put it on your website. At the end of the article, you can have the products or the tools that you refer to from that one episode. You can find affiliate links that sit on your website also, or connected to, if you have a podcast site or your YouTube channel, there are so many ways to include affiliate links. You can just go to Amazon and literally find the product that you like, register, get the affiliate link and connect it to your site. It's very, very possible. There are also ways to earn money through patreon.com, for example, which is a way that people can support your service. There are also many other options like sponsorship, which is a little bit more hard to get to, but it's very possible depending on what kind of service or podcast you have or how big your listeners are. And then the last one is a really exciting thing, and I am very, very much in love with this model. And this is all about digital memberships. And if you've heard of it before, if it's the first time, a digital membership site is really a recurring revenue miracle. And really, it's about, it's not an overnight success, but when you create a recurring membership business, it can be very profitable. And whether you're offering a software or you're offering a personal coaching service or an online course, it's a great way to just get recurring revenue, because when you do create a side hustle, it's nice to have one-off fees, but it's even better if it's paid monthly. Don't you agree? So, this is a really fun way to make money if you have a very clear niche with a very clear customer with a very clear value proposition. This is a fantastic way to do so, and it's also something that we are developing and building at the moment, which is launching on June the 1st, our own GrowGetters Future Ready Mastermind membership. But it is a way that you can offer conferences and events, or products, free shipping. There are so many things you can offer additionally in your membership. You can offer one-on-one coaching, you can offer group coaching. There's so many different things you can do there. But if this is something you're interested in doing, if you have an existing side hustle, it's a cool thing to add on to your side hustle to help earn some extra cash on a regular basis, on a monthly basis. So just a few more things, a few more ideas, and then we will recap and come to your questions. Sorry, there's a lot of content, but we really want to share a lot with you tonight with what we have. So here are some ways, just further monetization ideas. If you don't want to create an entirely new business, which I gave you ideas for back then, here are ways you can just create extra income from your existing side hustle concept. affiliate relationships, like I mentioned, finding affiliation networks like SheSays or Amazon. You can literally find products you like and offer them on your website, or put it in your podcast show notes, or put it on your YouTube channel. It's a really wonderful way just to have those products sitting there. Who knows if they're going to click or someone's going to click on them, but they're there. And if someone does click on it or they like your recommendation, that's money coming into your bank. You can create and sell an ebook. It's super, super simple. I have to tell you, my first startup that I started was called 7Write. It was an ebook publisher, which we helped in thousands and thousands and thousands of authors all over the world write and publish their book with several clicks, but a single click. That was the offer. And I've seen people that are not writers, that have nothing to do or don't know how to write, create an ebook. It is super possible, and that's something that is very possible to do from your knowledge. It's a great thing if you're a coach, Alexa. If you are a coach, it's a great thing to have as an additional offer, as a lead magnet, or also as a book on Amazon for a few euros or a few dollars. It helps. Every little bit helps to having multiple revenue streams. Another option is to provide a relevant or related product to your service. So if you have a product, you can also offer a service to support that product. It's pretty simple. You can also be a guest contributor to platforms. So last year, Tanya published an article via a company called Mamma Mia. She wrote this article and got paid for the article. It's very possible. It's a quick Google search for certain platforms in your niche that would like to hear about your content or your niche, and you create an article, and then you send the article, they accept it, you get paid for your work most of the time. And then another thing, which is really just helping to grow your side hustle, and it's generally great, is to find speaking gigs. And sometimes they're paid, sometimes they're not, but it can be, the more you do it, the more people would like to hear what you have to offer, what you have to say. And it's also an extra revenue stream for your original core side hustle. So guys, there's a lot of ideas there. Let's recap what you should be taking away from today. And hopefully you have a clear picture of your dream customer. That's what we really wish. Number one, if that's all you get today, then we've done our job, hopefully. The second thing is knowing how to craft your customer value proposition. How to craft it is using that model I showed you. And there is a lot of information out there to go back and do it, but it's a fantastic thing. It should literally be one of the stepping stones that every organization, every side hustle does before they develop any product or service, to really visualize what value they're creating, because without value, nothing's happening. And then be inspired to create recurring income for your side hustle. Tanya and I are massive, massive fans of being a multi-hyphenate or a multi-passionate entrepreneur. And having multiple streams of income is the game. And those are some thought starters and some ideas to get you started today. And I'm going to hand it over to Tanya.
Oh, you're doing such a wonderful job. I thought you could just keep going.
However you wish.
Oh, we can do this one together. So guys, ladies, like Tiffany just mentioned, we are now adding another string to our bow, and we are massive believers in multiple streams of income. And what we found by doing our GrowGetters podcast, the Future Skills podcast, for over a year now, is that people, and I say this without blowing my own horn or our own horn, but people who listen love our content. We found it really is resonating with women. And I think we're coming from a purpose where we really, really are so passionate about making sure that women are future-proofed and future-ready. And that means making sure that they have a solid career, that they have multiple streams of income coming in. We don't know what's going to come tomorrow. Like, look at this pandemic, for example. It's completely shaking things up. So when we talk about being future ready, it means that we have all of our eggs, not just in one basket, but many baskets. And it means we are continually kept up to date on all the newest working methods and models, from agile to design thinking and lean startup and more, that we're knowing what the hottest trends are, what all the new news is. And it's just bringing it all together. We're basically taking our podcast and we are creating our own club and our own membership. And it's called Future Ready Women. And like we've talked to you guys, we are currently developing a pilot. So this is our pilot minimal viable products that we're putting together. We are looking for 10 women, or we're looking for more than 10, but we have 10 spots available right now. And you guys are going to be the first future ready women if you choose to join, which means you are the founding members, which means you actually get to shape what this club or this movement is going to be. And it's really exciting. So if you are interested and if you want to know more, please just slide into our DMs at growgetters.io, send us an email, or if you want to click sign up, get me onto it. Here's the link here. Sorry, it's a little bit long. It's bit.ly/future-skills-waitlist. So like Tiffany said, this is going to launch on June the 1st, but we're just getting people's feedback, getting people involved. And yeah, if you want to know more, please hit us up anytime.
Thank you so much, Tiffany and Tanya, for sharing your knowledge, your experience, your wisdom tonight. It was a super inspiring evening. I hope everyone is inspired to get on with their side hustle after today. Please stay tuned for future events on SheSays. Thank you very much, everyone, for tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.